Hi, my name is Ant, and today I will be talking about the history of CPU, which you all might know as the processor. Its history begins with the founding of silicon at 1823, but in this video, I will be talking from the year 1981 to present day, and to see how it changed and adapted to the future throughout the years. Well, let's get right into it. History of CPU. What is a CPU? CPU, also known as the Central Processing Unit, is the electronic circuitry that executes instructions comprising a computer program. The CPU performs basic arithmetic logic, controlling an input-output operation specified by the instructions in the program. This contrasts with external components such as main memory and input-output circuitry, and specialized processes such as graphic processing units. The form, design, and implementation of CPUs have changed over time, but their fundamental operation remains almost unchanged. Principal components of a CPU include the arithmetic logic unit that performs arithmetic and logic operations, processor registers that supply operands to the LIU and store the results of LIU operations, and a control unit that orchestrates the fetching from memory, decoding and executing of instructions by directing the coordinated operations of the LIU, registers, and other components. What is the CPU good for? The fundamental operation of most CPUs, regardless of the physical form they take, is to execute a sequence of stored instructions that is called a program. The instructions to be executed are kept in some kind of computer memory. Nearly all CPUs follow the fetch, decode, and execute steps in their operation, which are collectively known as the instruction cycle. After the execution of an instruction, the entire process repeats, with the next instruction cycle normally fetching the next in sequence instruction because of the incremented value in the program counter. The milestones of CPU development. Intel 286 was first released on February 1, 1982, and referred to as the Intel 286. The 286 had 134,000 transistors, ran at clock speed from 4 MHz to 12 MHz, and was the first processor to be backward compatible with previous processors. In 1989, Cyrix released their first coprocessors, the FASoS. These were 87 times compatible and designed for 386 computers. The FASoS coprocessors were up to 50% faster than the Intel 8387 processor. After the developments of FASoS, Intel introduced the Intel 486SX chip in April 1991 in efforts to bring a lower-cost processor to the PC market for selling for $258 because the costs were really high. These are one of the biggest developments after the development of computer in 1981. In 1999, Intel released two new processors called Pentium 500 and Pentium 550. A year later, at 28 August 2000, the CPUs were recalled due to a glitch, and at 2003, Intel released Pentium M. The recall of the CPUs had a negative effect on Intel's sales because the customers weren't happy. The Intel Pentium M, or Pentium Mobile, was first introduced in March 2003, and is a line of Intel processors developed for laptop computers. The Pentium M runs at lower clock speed, which helps reduce the overall energy it consumes, allowing for the battery life in laptop to last longer. After its defeat with the Pentium series, Intel made the Core series. The first Core i7 mobile processor was released in September 2009. It uses a socket GI socket type, runs at 1.6 GHz, and features 6 MB L3 cache. This was actually the CPU of my first computer that I got. In June 2017, Intel released the first Core i9 desktop processor. It used the LGA 2066 socket, runs at 3.3 GHz, and has 10 cores. In February 23, 2004, there was a debate over processor speed. This year's incarnation of the debate took place at a Tuesday evening session of the ISSC conference entitled Processors and Performance, When Do Gigahertz Hurt? With so few viable processor design teams remaining in the industry, there's always the risk that such a panel will devolve into a round of Intel bashing, and that's pretty much what happened this time. Panel chair Shannon Morton, staff engineer at Icera Semiconductor, observed that the increase in clock frequency that has led us to 3 GHz CPUs had not come just from the process scaling. There has also been a consistent and aggressive reduction in the number of fan-out of 4 gate delays per logic stage. Then Morton asked, what is the end customer's perception of performance, and should we continue to focus on frequency in our pursuit of the customer's dollars? Thanks for watching my video. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Make sure to subscribe and like the video. Peace.